Welcome to our executive interview series at the Trellix Cybersecurity Summit presented by FedScoop and CyberScoop. I'm Wyatt Cash, and we're here with Anjana Rajan, Assistant National Cyber Director for Technology Security at the White House. Anjana, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I'd like to start by asking, from your perspective, what are some of the biggest challenges the United States is currently facing trying to defend against the expanded attack surfaces for all of the country and our enterprises, as well as enterprises using extended supply chains?
You know, unlike the other battle domains, cyberspace is the only one that's completely man-made, which means that every time we innovate, the arena changes. And that makes it really hard for cyber defenders to get ahead of the threat. But that dynamism can actually be used to our advantage, because that means we can actually move the mountains and change the topography to our advantage. And so the way we get ahead of this rapidly growing attack surface is to take action that can actually shrink it exponentially. And one of the big ideas that we have been focusing on is how do we eliminate entire categories of bugs before they even reach the product. You know, there are many different categories of bugs, but one that the Biden-Harris administration has been particularly focused on is a class of bug called memory safety vulnerability. And the good news is that there are choices that engineers and CTOs can make today about the programming languages they use, the chips they buy, and the development tools that they implement to actually eliminate that class of bug from showing up in the first place. And that puts the United States back on offense.
And then I think it's safe to say that agencies have come a long way with CISAs and really the administration's continuous diagnostics and mitigation programs to gain greater visibility into operations. How do we get to real-time visibility into government operations today?
The way we get ahead of the threats is by having better ways to see the threat around the corner. And that requires better diagnostic tools to see the health of our software. But that's actually a really hard scientific problem, because measuring software itself is really complicated. It's complicated for three main reasons. The first being that writing code is often considered a form of human expression, a creative pursuit. So there's not a singular way to write software. The second thing that makes it hard is that it's not a deterministic product. It doesn't always have the same output. And so measuring and figuring out what good looks like isn't always easy. And then just simply analyzing code is hard, and figuring out why this dynamic ecosystem acts the way it does with a supply chain that's so deep means that we have to start thinking about this problem differently. And so, for us to actually now make even more progress on this, we need to make a call to the research community to really come back to the core science of software metrology, which is something that the White House has recently called for, and is really excited to work with computer scientists and mathematicians to tackle one of the hardest cyber problems there is.
Really interesting. Well, Anjana Rajan, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to share your insights and perspectives with us here at the Trellix Cybersecurity Summit.
Thanks for having me.